Still trying to do this live thing around something like live streaming. So I don't know, Doc. I'm trying to get over y'all the technology, man. See Dr. Bell right there. We'll call it a 10 point. Ain't all that. Good morning, Central Texas, and welcome to If We Only Knew What We Could Do. And there's no limits on life except the ones that we put on ourselves. So I just want to welcome Central Texas 94.5 The Beat. Remember, this is your station, your show. The call-in number is area code 254-235-9450. Once again, we have another great program lined up for you this morning. First, I want to start off with a few announcements. Number one, I want to wish all the mothers a very special Happy Mother's Day weekend. I want to tell my mother Happy Mother's Day. I know she's listening to the radio station this morning. I just want to tell you that I love you and I'm glad to have you in my life. And I also want to tell my wife Happy Mother's Day. She's the mother of all 5 of my beautiful children. So I really appreciate that. And to all the mothers out there, enjoy your weekend and enjoy your special day tomorrow. Mothers are special. I'll be your host this morning, Travis Gibson. I'm filling in for our retired man downtown, Commissioner Lester Gibson, and his beautiful wife, Protem Gibson, which are my parents. Just have a few announcements. Update on the Waco Independent School District High School graduations. The graduations are set right now. University High School, the class of 2020 are set to graduate on May the 29th at 10 o'clock a.m. at the Waco Independence Stadium, Waco ISD Stadium. University class of 2020. It will be at 10 a.m. And the Waco High Lions class of 2020 are scheduled to graduate on May the 30th at 10 a.m. at the Waco ISD Stadium as well. Our leadership in the district, Dr. Candace, has been doing a remarkable job along with the entire leadership team during this COVID-19 pandemic. Now they're modeling the graduation after the U.S. Air Force Academy ceremony that was held last month. But now family members and guests will not be able to attend in person at the stadium. Okay, but the ceremonies will be broadcast live on the Waco ISD TV channel, channel 17 on cable. If you don't have the WISD TV channel, it'll also be online at wacoisd.org/live. I'll repeat that again. University set to graduate Saturday, May the 29th at 10 a.m. And I think it's on a Friday. Then May the 30th, Waco High Class of 2020 will be graduating at 10 a.m. No family members, anybody like that will be allowed. But what the district has done, because diplomas, they will not be handed out during the ceremonies at the stadium, but instead they're going to schedule a time for each graduate and the graduate's family members to pick up their diploma from the high school campus between June the 15th and June 26th. And after receiving their diplomas, there will be an opportunity for graduates and their families to have photos taken by a professional photographer. So just kind of set those dates. Also, the McLennan County Tax Office is now fully operational. So if you're riding around with some expired registration, that you can go in and take care of that stuff. A couple of weeks ago, we had the McLennan County Tax Assessor, Mr. Riggs, on the show and kind of gave us an update of how the county was operating during the pandemic, but during the phase 1 and phase 2 reopenings. So the tax office is now in full operation. Public has full access to county staff members as they conduct business, including you can pay your taxes and vehicle titles and also vehicle registrations. Mr. Damian Richardson, a lot of you may or may not remember him, but a couple of years ago, he was a young man who was in East Waco, and there was a fire next door, and he went in and saved his neighbor. He saved a life. Unfortunately, that young man, his life was taken away this past weekend in a car accident in Dallas. Memorial service is scheduled for tonight at 7:30 p.m. at the Waco High School. And so I want to send my condolences out to his entire family and his mother, Miss Dawn Polk. Our prayers are with you during this time. Also, I want to give special recognition. We started phase 2 of the reopening of Texas on Friday, which that included the barbershops, salons, tanning beds, etc. So I want to give a acknowledgement to all my barber and beautician friends. Be safe while you're doing it. Open back up. Practice, good sanitation and do your thing. I think I'm gonna have next week a few barbers and beauticians on the show to kind of talk to us about the adjustments that they had to make. A lot of times those people that's their profession is barbers and beauticians. So phase 2 reopened, and it actually reopened 10 days earlier. So we'll talk about that a little later on the show. But Mr. Davis, how you doing this morning?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you.
Yes, sir. Likewise. It's always glad to have you in the station. I'm glad that you and Mr. Billings reached out to me on last week. So you listened to the show and you've been on the show before.
Yes.
And I want to disseminate some good information as far as the Texas Workforce Commission is concerned, because I know during this pandemic, I believe in the state of Texas, we've reached over 2 million unemployment rate, if I'm correct.
If not more.
If not more, that's a lot. That's a lot. So just kind of tell us about the Workforce Commission, what you do, the different programs that are available during this time.
Well, you mentioned unemployment insurance, and that is on the forefront right now. The unemployment insurance benefits are designed to help people who are out of work through no fault of their own. And there are an extensive amount of guidelines that go into providing the services. As anybody who's attempted to file for unemployment insurance knows, their phone lines and their website is booked over capacity. In some instances, they've experienced a 1,900% increase in calls. They have scaled up to the best of their ability, but I don't know how you prepare for that level of increase in such a short period of time. But one of the things that we're doing here locally with our local workforce solutions staff is trying to provide information to assist people as they file their claims. We don't have access to their database, we don't tape, or we don't make decisions on claims. However, we do have access to a good bit of information working from home and assist with the best of their ability and provide direction to assist people with unemployment insurance.
Just kind of go move up to the mic. You can raise it up.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of, there you go. Appreciate it.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay. Now, as important as this is, that we provide and help to provide unemployment assistance to help people work through these horrendous times, it's also important for us to consider what happens next. As you mentioned correctly, Mr. Gibson, we are in another phase and moving forward, things will begin to change. At the same time, people are still looking for work and employers are still looking for people to work. So in that regard, we do have on our website, hotworkforce.com, a section on COVID-19 resources. And on that site, you will find a section called Jobs Now. There are in excess of 150 jobs the last time I checked that are looking, employers are looking to fill at this time. We also, many people are familiar with our workintexas.com site. That site was upgraded about a year ago, and it's a good bit more complex, but it provides more services. We are advising folks if they don't have an application at workintexas.com to do so as soon as possible. What we think is going to happen is as employers start to reopen and bring people back to work, everybody that they laid off may not be brought back at the same time. So there will still be people out there that have not gotten called and may not get called, and they may need to look for work. During this time, our staff that can be reached out on the phone can assist individuals that have problems with the workintexas.com application. We think that the demand for this assistance will go up. And so this is a good time to kind of strike while the open is hot, get that out of the way because that application can work for you while you're not even thinking about it. If it's done well, it provides the opportunity for our staff who work field jobs, other employers that help us out, and employers who are registered on the site. As they look, they can look on their own should they choose to do so through our website. If they do that, the workintexas application is crafted and put into the system, the more readily opportunities will be made available to individuals who are looking for work. And so we're saying, let's not wait until the demand increases. Let's try to get it in now. Get that application up to speed so that it's complete, it's relevant, it's accurate, so that it represents a person's all of their skills, knowledge, and ability.
Yeah, I got a question real quick. So now, the offices are closed right now, correct? Everything's done via telephone, correct?
Yes, at this point, our offices are closed. We do have staff that are working virtually. We are communicating through a chat system on our Hot Workforce website. This is fairly new. We are also using phones, as you mentioned. A lot of work is being done by email as well. So we're still providing services. We're still bringing people and jobs together. We're still providing information on various services that are available to an individual in the community, including that never stopped. We have continued to do that. As you can imagine, things it may be a while before things go back to normal. That normal may be a new normal. So
Right, correct.
we're learning that more. This has been an experience for us. But our staff is actively working very hard. We meet virtually with staff during the week, and they are learning and growing, providing, I think, good service to the public.
Because I noticed that now the state of Texas, what we have is that they allocated $3.1 billion worth of state and federal funding. Is that for the state of Texas? That's allocated totally for the state of Texas?
Well, I believe that's correct for the state of Texas. Those funds come down, they go through the governor's opened the center, the fire was there, it wasn't possible to scale up to the level.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So let's say, walk me through this. So I get laid off my job. What's the first thing that I need to do as an individual?
Well, to file for unemployment insurance, you can do that online. You can go to the Texas Workforce Commission website, TWC.texas.gov. On that website, you can start and complete an application for unemployment insurance. In some instances, it's necessary to talk to someone on the phone.
Right. So if I call them, I'm gonna get it's gonna be an automated system at first.
Well,
From
we recommend that you try to file online first.
okay, file online.
If you can, you will, there are over 10,000 more claims being filed online than being filed by telephone. In some instances, you have to file because some people have a pre-existing claim and they've lost their user ID or password. And if the password recovery effort online doesn't work, in some cases, that's bad. And the system of that doesn't work, then the person does have to call in online. That can be a very difficult operation. Taking some steps to try to address that. And now people's phone lines open 7 in the morning, 7 days a week, whereas before it was like 8 to 6 Monday to Friday. So that's a big change, but it still takes an awful lot of effort in some instances. But I can assure you, people are getting through. They're taking tens of thousands of claims a week, or actually hundreds of thousands a week. But if you're one of those individuals that have difficulty getting through, that's a little solace to you, and it is frustrating. I've had opportunity to talk to several folks, and I understand the frustration and the heart that goes out to them. And we wish that there was the things to move along a little faster. I'm convinced that the powers that be are doing everything in their power to move forward, but it does involve, in some cases, buying the equipment, hiring staff. It's all excuse that this is just a practice. So what we are committed to doing is to continue to work with all the folks that folks ask for help to do whatever we can do to assist them until such time as they get through. There's no medical warning situation when somebody calls me, emails me, and says, the information on how to be able to get through without becoming violent, without the problem fixed. We will continue to work towards that end to help these folks.
Now, what's the turnaround? So I use myself as an individual walkthrough. So I got laid off or unemployed. I go online or either call in. If I don't have access to a computer, I would have to call in online. Once everything is submitted properly, what's the turnaround on approval rating?
With the understanding that there's no guarantees, and each claim is reviewed individually. In many instances, you can have two people working the same job at the same time, and there's a difference. One person costs you 2 things. Having said that, all other things being equal, and nothing going wrong, it normally takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 weeks to see the first one. In some cases, it's less than that. In some cases, it can be longer. There are a number of decisions that can be made by both sides and the insurance company. Some of it just deals with earnings that are reported that were not informed when they were reported, how they were balances and informed of the loss of stuff. Sometimes it deals with job separation that has to be on the two. Once the claim is established, the person then files individual requests for payment normally every 2 weeks. Prior to the pandemic, the first payable claim was held as a waiting. They waived that requirement. think in terms of from the time you file the claim, that's why it's important to get the claim started as soon as possible. Clock doesn't start ticking until that claim is filed and it's complete.
Right.
And there are a number of issues that can pop up that can cause problems. If someone has questions, they can contact the Insurance Call Center by phone. There are several call centers in the state. There's an 800 number that all tied together, so the call will go to the center that has the most amount of volume for the most part. During this time, it's problematic at all the centers.
Right. This is a different time that we're going through. We just have to learn to adapt and adjust.
We went from a period of time where the maximum number of new unemployment claims accepted in a week, 63,000, to the point where we've taken over 300,000.
That's a lot, man. We have 2 million plus people here in the state of Texas that are unemployed. And now, what's the point? Real quick, I got another caller coming in, but so what's the qualification? I know a lot of young people that I've encountered, 18 and 19, 20, when they either get laid off from a job. Yeah.
It's based on earnings, it's based on job separation, it's based on filing, that's payment, the pay standards. It's like going through a bunch of different, each one closes behind you.
We're doing this.
Yes, sir. I'm on.
Live this morning. We're trying this new system out, but
I'm on. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me do it this way.
But you
Can
need
you
to
hear me
call.
better this way?
Well,
Can you hear
I
me?
think you need to call in, right? So on your phone that you're not using, can you call into the station? Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah, we're trying. My brother Rocky Miller called me last night, and he's trying to get me out of this pen and pad. I'm a pen and pad type guy, and so today we're going to try this, streaming live through the state. So we got glad to have you with us this morning. As always, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio. You were back with us last week, and we just want to talk about we want to talk. We had a discussion last night about all the stuff that's going on, especially with the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. But at the same time, we still have brutality on our young men and women of color. So I just want to kind of sit and talk with you today about that. We were talking about the lady. Let's go ahead and take it over. You got it.
Yeah, well, because when I first saw when it came across, I didn't want to watch the video. You know, I've seen it too many times. You know, being a father of four African American young men and having a grandson. And, you know, every time they leave my house, there's always this concern. You know, it shouldn't be like that. That's it is what it is, right? And so, as a black man, African American man, I see it from different lenses. I'm just looking around and you see all, you know, Kaepernick protested, right? Had a peaceful protest, you know, eventually got blackballed from the NFL. But then you have guys that are going with guns to these capitals or even protesting the executive order that was handed down by our governor, which is Republican, that was handed down. And the woman with the salon in Dallas County, I mean, it's like you can, you know, the governor has an executive order that he puts out. All right. The woman refuses to close her job down, goes to court. All right. The judge gives her an opportunity to go to March and apologize and just give him a blatantly defined. And there was an African American judge. And she basically said, screw you. And so he held her in contempt of court, sentenced her to 7 days. So, and then the governor, they turned around and released the woman, right? And then the lieutenant governor paid her a fine. So, and what they were trying to do is enforce an order that the governor, executive order that he had put out. And so that just shows, it just behooves me sometimes, man. It's like the law is a law. You got some people, you know, they think they're just above the law. They can do what they want to do.
Right. Right. And that's the problem. The one, especially when that judge was following Dallas, is following through with the order, trying to make sure that the governor's order is respected. And then for the lady in Dallas and for the governor then to intervene after the judge really literally enforced his order. And the judge is the one receiving criticism. That something is wrong. And I know that, and you know, we know that something has to be, somehow there has to be some consistency somewhere in the midst of all of this. And right now, I don't know. It doesn't. It appears as though it's business as usual, even in the midst of a pandemic. That Black lives are still being still being threatened by those who are supposed to protect and serve, those who are supposed to adjudicate and so forth. So there are major problems going on. Like you, I have sons as well, but they're adult sons, and they have sons as well. And so I have grandsons and in college and so forth. And the kind of threat, that the imminent threat that they appear to be under, that's disturbing. I'm sure that's disturbing to anybody.
Yeah, just kind of, and we got to make, you know, got to keep these. You got to be aware of the issues, and a lot of times we'll discuss it right in the comfort of our own homes, but we won't speak out in public about it. And that's what I got a problem with.
Right. Right.
So now how's everything they're going in forward with this whole deal?
Well, the thing is that you know, of course, that can y'all hear me well? Me, Rocky, can y'all hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. What we have here in Fort Worth, nothing has changed. As you know, the group that I'm a part of, that we've been protesting, Tatiana Jefferson's murder back in October of last year, when she was murdered. We've been protesting downtown her murder, the assault on Jackie Craig, as well as the murder of Christopher Lowe. We have several murders in Fort Worth in police custody here in Fort Worth, and we have a lawyer because we've been receiving citations from Fort Worth PD, and so nothing has changed really. When you ask what's going on in Fort Worth, the thing is that what we're trying to do is make sure that this pandemic, as much as possible, that everybody is as safe as possible, because this is disproportionately affecting us. And so we're just trying to get the word out on that. But as far as the civic environment, nothing has changed.
Yeah, because if nothing changes, correct?
Right. It's just, that was years ago called Groundhog Day. You remember? And Bill Murray was in that movie, and every day was the same, a repeat of the previous day. And so it's like we're in this endless cycle. We're being cycled into this one tragedy after another. One African American being shot after another, and so that's anyone, not just African Americans, but anyone ought to be concerned about this.
Yeah, because it can actually. And
so that's the same up here.
Yeah, because it can actually happen. Unfortunately, where I live, it hasn't happened yet, but it can happen. And so,
right,
we need to be proactive about it instead of being reactive.
Right. Absolutely. We need to be proactive about it. One thing we need to do is that, and we're doing this here in Fort Worth, is getting in touch with, we've reached, that was a murder back in the summer of last year. And what we did of a brother, and what we did is that we went and got in touch with people, police. We had been in touch with them, but not only the chief, the mayor, the city manager, we got everybody involved. And we had a big rally on next to Todd Jefferson's house with thousands of people. Ended up blocking the I-35 freeway exit at Allen Avenue. So, but what we're trying to do is that we're trying to let them know, and we're going to that group going down to city council meetings when they have those. Right now, of course, everything is on hold. But the bottom line is, you're exactly right. We have to be proactive. We have to take some initiatives. And as a matter of fact, what we're doing, we're suggesting to the people downtown, here's some things you do or you should be doing. And if they can't do it, we want them to explain to us why they can't. Give us a rationale why they can't do it. So there has to be that kind of proactivity on the part of the community in order to protect our babies.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to, like I always do, when you come on, you give great words of encouragement, and you have deep conversations. So I appreciate you for your being a part of the program. I know my parents were instrumental in that, and so we enjoy having you come on and you talk the truth, right? And before I let you go, give us a word for the day.
Okay, the word for today is that adjust your normal. Adjust your normal. And I think this right now, when you feel overwhelmed, and there are a lot of people who are feeling overwhelmed, and when you feel overwhelmed, what you do is signal that you got to make a move, that you have to do something, listener. And here's how you make the adjustment. When you feel overwhelmed, you recognize that being overwhelmed is a warning signal. Don't panic. Just recognize, okay, there's a warning system that says I need to move, I need to do something. So when you feel overwhelmed, you make this first adjustment. You recognize being overwhelmed as a warning system. Then let me say this to you: if you're a person of faith, the second thing you do is that you seek God's norm for this season of your life. What is God's norm for you this season of life, if you're a person of faith? And then thirdly, everybody can do this. You take action to allow your schedule and obligations to reflect your new normal. So rather than just being overwhelmed and running around like Mima used to say, like a chicken with your head cut off, what you do is you take the initiative and you adjust. You say, okay, I'm overwhelmed. That's a warning signal. I need to move. I need to make some adjustments. I need to make some adjustment to my business norm. I need to make some adjustment to my cultural norm. I need to make some adjustment to my norm. And then once I make that adjustment, in other words, maybe here's something practical. Maybe what I need to do is to change my schedule. Maybe what I need to do is dial back my involvement in something that really is not giving the return that it ought to give. Make the adjustments in your life. Look at every aspect of your life and say, okay, where can I dial back? Where do I need to dial up? And that means what? Thinking about your thinking. You need to think about what you're thinking. A lot of times we do something and we say, well, you know what? Why was I thinking of that? Well, what we need to do is think about our thinking and adjusting our new normal and say, what do I need to dial back? What do I need to let go of? Make a list. Do something as simple as a list. Make a list. What do I need to let go of? And then what I need to do is that once I recognize I need to dial these things back, then I need to actually do it. I need to take action in my schedule and also in my obligations to reflect my chosen new normal. I'm just saying. Yes, sir. Well, we right here, Imhotep. We're gonna have this work out. I like this, Imhotep. Sounds like Rocket trying to help all of us. Imhotep. All right, be blessed. All right.
Um, Dr. Bell had a good word, adjust your normal. Um, this is, they say all the time, we're going to have to get into our new normal, our new normal. Well, you know, you're a positive guy. I'm a positive guy, girl. Um, how about we focus on our new beginning? Because this was a hard stop for everybody, right? A hard stop. So let's just shift our focus and begin our new beginning. And now that our eyes have been open, we have an opportunity to do some great, great things going forward, correct some things, you know, and begin again. So thank you for having me this morning. Hmm. Right, right, indeed. Hmm. So first, we have to thank Commissioner Patricia Chisholm Miller for coordinating those efforts with Dr. Ileana Newman of the Family Health Center and myself, Dr. Newman, Councilmember Hector Sabito, Annalie Annalie Looper, who is works diligently with the immigrant community as an attorney, was there, Dr. Reynolds from Family Health Center, and Dr. Barry from Family Health Center. And we got to talk about, it was 5 quick questions because we only had about an hour to talk about how COVID-19 affected our communities of color. And from a medical perspective, from an economic perspective, from a xenophobic perspective. So we each kind of highlighted on some of those things. We just really scratched the surface talking about where we go from here.
We need to have more intentional talks about that in this conversation, which is a great topic. And, great minds think alike. We can always bounce ideas off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a good thing that was put on. And I always want to Mr. Miller appreciate the work that she's doing. I I've known her since I was like 14 years old. So I call her Miss Pat. So I'm trying to get to have to call her Commissioner Miller. But I want to thank you and everything that you do for the city of Waco. Just kind of give us an update on what's going on in Waco. I know we had the second phase of reopening Texas, but the barbershops, beauty salons, so we're opening back up. How's it going?
So for Waco, so far so good. We have. I'm glad to see our beauticians and barbers back able to make money, because I know it hit them the hardest, because it's not like a pre service that they get. You know, they get paid before something happens. It's transactional. And so it's hard for people who their sole source of income at times is to go in and cut someone's hair, do someone's nails, whatever. And they weren't allowed to make any money. So I'm very glad to see, the shops open. And I know some of my council member, I'm the only female on council, right? So all of a great number of council members were first thing in the morning, yesterday morning, getting their haircut. But we have been phasing in our businesses and opening, and the city has put an occupancy count calculator on the website. So it's something that, I think we all need to know, because if someone says, oh, well, you can have 25% of the occupancy, and what does that mean to anybody who's not a code inspector? So there's an occupancy calculator on the city's website. It's waco-texas.com or covidwaco.com, and you can find that kind of information. We've been, fortunate, I think, in the way that Wacoans have processed this entire thing, from sheltering in place, as we were one of the first cities to issue a full shelter in place order, finding out the new pathways to do your essentials, making sure that we're 6 feet apart and we're watching, maintaining our social distance and everything that we do, and allowing those businesses to take the proper protocols they needed to do to ensure that, your little markers on the floor at HEB and Walmart, and the screen protective screens for those essential workers. Those are things that happen, and I think that we've kind of gotten into the groove of what that looks like. But in that process, and in the meantime, the city's been doing things like the small business grant that City of Waco issued. Shout out to Galen Price, who is our Director of Housing and Code, and Assistant City Manager Deidre Emerson, for going out of the way to find money, because we didn't, that wasn't something that we budgeted for or had. So what they did was find money from our HUD CDBG Community Development Block Grant Funds, and they put together, with the help of our McLennan County Waco Economic Development Corp, to find $830,000 to set aside for small businesses. And when I say small, I mean actual small businesses, so businesses 10 and under, to be able to apply for up to $5,000 in grant funds. So that's grant, not loan. So it's not, it's not like, any of the PPP or the EIDL money. It's a grant money so you apply, fill out the application, it'll go through the committee, and it'll if we give the full amount, there's eligibility for 166 grants. Now I know that's not a lot, but we wanted to make sure that some of that money was set aside for businesses of color, specifically low to moderate businesses who owner and employees are low to moderate income. So, because I know that there was a big deal about all of the large companies or multi-million-dollar companies getting PPP money and EIDL money. So we wanted to make sure that there was something that we could do for our businesses, our core businesses, and especially our businesses of color, who, less than 1% of businesses of color receive PPP or EIDL money. So we were trying to balance the averages, if you will. Now, as of Friday, we had 676 applicants. So the committee is processing now, and the first round of grants should go out next week. So I'm really, and that turnaround was quick. It was like 72 hours that they got that up and mounted. So I'm real proud of our City of Waco staff. And And that's just one of the things. The other part is with City of Waco, United Way, Waco Foundation. They are raising up resources for rental assistance and utilities assistance and housing. So, and it's one of the main organizations it's going through is EOAC. So check with EOAC's website so that if you need rental assistance or utilities assistance, you can go to that website and apply, because they have set aside monies for that. And that's both federal money as well as local foundations and that kind of monies for people who need assistance. Because we know what everybody's been going through, and we understand that this is having to do a hard stop with your jobs is something that a lot of people can't recover from. So we're trying to do as much as we can for as many as we can.
Well, you're doing a great job. And reiterate that site that they can go to for assistance.
Sure. I would visit the EOAC's website. So if you, and I'm sorry, I don't have that pulled up right now, but
That's
it's EOAC, but also the information would be on covidwaco.com and or unitedwaywaco.com. There'll be information, or .org, I'm sorry. There'll be information that will lead you to the rental assistance sites.
I really appreciate it. So it's utilities also, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the city of Waco, and I wish you a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, sir.
I know your husband has something in store for you this weekend. So enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend.
I will.
I look forward to working with your son. I hadn't forgotten he's going to come to university, right?
Yes,
Okay.
he is. He is. And happy Mother's Day to your wife and mother. Happy Mother's Day, Miss Kokui. One of the things I want to make sure we don't leave without, the only way that we get a lot of this federal money, right, is completing our census. So
that census is very, very important. I've always stressed that. I've done mine, but I can't stress how important it is to get that 2020 census done.
$15,000 per person over the course of 10 years is what we stand to lose for everybody who is not counted. And we have to get the count. So right now, the 3 ways to do your census. You can fill it in and mail it in. You can do it over the phone, or this is the first year you can do it online. So my2020census.gov, 2020census.gov, any of those things will lead you to the way to get the census done. I see, come on, technology, looking at the site. This is the COVID Waco site. COVID Waco site will also give you the breakdown, race, ethnicity, and gender breakdown of everyone who has tested positive for COVID, all of the deaths. That information we insisted that it be monitored and checked, and that's also they're also getting the numbers of how many people are being tested now, and their racial breakdown, because these are things that we need to know. And that was one of those things that we did insist. Come on, 2020 census. The census is, there we go.
There's technology. Rock, go ahead and give us a call too, man. Go ahead and call in, Rock.
So this is the way we get this done. So we can't get the things that we need to make exceptions and make things possible for our citizens without you doing your part. So if you don't do anything else today, fill out your census. If you haven't, tell your people to fill out your census. Look at the way politics is going right now. All of those things matter because of voting. If you haven't registered to vote. Well, you need to register. When the July runoff elections come, vote. We weren't able to have our municipal elections in May. So whenever those happen, vote, because your vote matters and it has consequences to it.
Well, Mayor Protem Barefield, once again, thank you for coming on and sharing that valuable and accurate information. And Dr. Bell talked about that last week, getting accurate information. That's one reason that we have the program is to disseminate information to our listening audience. So once again, thanks for coming on. I think we have Rocky Mill on the line.
Awesome.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, what's up, Travis? This is Rock, man.
Class of 1989.
So best class, you class of 88. Glad to have you on the closer show out, man. The technology was really wonderful, man. But my phone just died on me. My laptop died.
Well, that's fine. I got you coming through on the phone, and so we'll be able to stay on here, and they can hear you as well. So we'll do these last few minutes, man. Thank you, man, for all that you do, man.
Thank you. I like the technology. I really do. It's something I just have to keep my phone. My kids are always telling me, right, I need to keep my phone charged. Every time I look around, I'm at 5%. But I can't never find a charger, though. The kids always got my charging block.
Hey, they try to use the phone on the charge. You know what I mean?
I got you on real quick. I mean, like I said, I appreciate everything you and your wife do, and tell your wife Happy Mother's Day for me. But real quick, man, I know it's kind of off topic or whatever, but, every time, man, you get together, we talk sports. Mm-hmm. Top 2 Waco High teams all time. Putting you on the spot.
With Travis, man, I'll say the top.
Don't stutter now.
No. I mean, and I'm gonna be biased on these selections.
I know.
One, the top 2 team, top 1 team is my team, the 1987 team that went 2 rounds deep and then was disqualified for the playoff. We end up, we were 10-1-1, but to be perfectly honest,
I was on that team.
Huh? Oh, you were on that team, Travis? You was on that team?
I was running back. Yeah.
Well,
so I agree with you on that one. That's mine too.
The thing that you look at, Travis, if you look at not only how good we were, but if you look at all the athletes from that particular team, the guys that are in my class, the guys that were juniors, and the guys that were sophomores, and you look at
we had a couple of sophomores on the team too.
Absolutely.
That were good.
And you look at the success that all those guys went off and had in college and this, that, and the other. It'd be hard to replicate that with any other single team. You know what I mean? Because it was a lot of guys that went to D1 when I, in my grade, and then also the year under me, you guys have had a few guys as well. And then those 10th graders had a great number of guys that went off to D1 schools. And so that's going to be my all-time team. And then my second team is going to be probably the team that featured Jay Johnson as a tailback that went all the way and played Odessa Permian and lost. Also, those are my 2 top teams. But again,
great minds think alike. Those are my 2 top teams. Also, I'm a little biased also because I was a junior on that 87 team, and then the 91 team that went to Odessa. I traveled to Odessa to watch the game. My brother played on that team, so those are my top 2 teams. We've had a lot of great teams that come through Waco High, without a doubt, man. So many great players, and it's kind of once you get to talking about that, and you stop and you remember another team or another player, man. So that tradition is still, we're trying to get it back. And way now.
One thing I'll say about our class, first off, we played at the highest level. We played 5A. Those 2 teams, the 92 and the 87 team, both played at the highest level of football. And when you look at how stiff the competition was in our district, now Waco High is going to be able to have that same challenge this upcoming year, because I believe they're in one of the toughest districts in the state as well, just like we were when we were in high school. And so I think that and along with the success we had kind of set us apart from any other team that played at Waco High.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, and that's going to be a segue into our next show. So I don't think you knew that, but that's where I was getting at, because there's so much we could talk about, and like I say, 94.5, the We Only Knew What We Could Do. The program is designed to get important information out to our people and our listening audience, and we're doing a great job. And so we're just going to stick with it, man. So next week, I'm going to have my phone charged up 100%. We'll go back to the technology. Now, with that, can other people access the information online? So that went out via Facebook as well?
Yes, it did. You can tune in via Facebook. Matter of fact, if you're tuning in late, it'll be up all day, all week, and forever. So you can always go back and listen to the show, because there was a lot of very important information given out during this show, and I believe it can benefit a lot of people.
It can. I'm going to have to bring Mr. Davis. I want to thank you for coming in. We have to get you back. Because there's so much information, but it's such a short amount of time. So we try to do our best to maximize the time that we have, which is only an hour. Look forward to. And then we're going to get with that. We had a lot of information. Over 2 million people that are unemployed, 2 million plus taxes alone. And you can take us out. We have 2 more minutes left. Dave, you can close us out. We got 1 minute. Okay, let's close out.
Well, let me just talk about our virtual job fairs. We do conduct virtual job fairs. We did our first one last Thursday. It's going to be via Zoom. It is required that you register early. So if you are an employer or a job seeker and you would like to participate, it is at no charge. So, go to our hot workforce -COVID19.com website. If you're receiving unemployment insurance, read your material, whether you're getting it through the mail or electronically, stay read up. There are waivers in place, but they are going to go away. And when they do, the requirements will change. Make sure that your workintexas.com application is up to speed. If you need help with it, give us a call at 296-5260.
Thank you, Dr. Mr. Davis. I appreciate you coming in. And once again, we had a great show lined up, and we'll have another show next week. Once again, all the mothers, I wish you a very happy, special Mother's Day. I want to tell my mother I love you, and my wife I love you. And we'll see you back here, same place, same time, 94.5 The Beat. If we only knew what we